Hey everybody, welcome back. In our previous video, we talked about infinitives. We discussed how infinitives are the most polyphacetic verbal because an infinitive can be a noun, an infinitive can be an adjective, and an infinitive can be an adverb. So we have different parts of speech that the infinitive may assume. Today we are going to talk about gerunds and we are going to talk about present participles. Now, gerunds, in contrast with infinitives, can only be nouns. And just like with infinitives, in order to be sure that a gerund is acting as a noun, well, a gerund is always a noun, but you need to pay attention to the role that the ing word is performing. The ing word has to be performing the role of a noun. Teacher, but you just said that a gerund is always a noun, so why do I need to be checking this? Well, because not every ing word is a gerund. And present participles are also ing words. We'll get there in a minute. Now, so if you see the ing word or the ing phrase performing the role of a subject, then you know that's a gerund. If you see that the ing word or the ing phrase is performing the role of a direct object, then you know it's a gerund. If you see that the ing word or phrase is performing the role of an appositive, then you know for sure that's a gerund. Let me show you some examples. Just a second. Let me show you some examples. Here we go. Now, finding out the truth made Harry realize his mistake. That is a gerund phrase. It's acting as the subject. Because you gotta ask, what made Harry realize his mistake? Finding out the truth. That is what made Harry realize his mistake. Hopper has quit drinking. Has quit what? He has quit drinking coffee. That's what he has quit. Our goal, that's a gerund phrase. It's acting as a direct object, right? Hopper has quit what? Drinking coffee, direct object. Our goal was guaranteeing the pupil's education. Our goal was what? Guaranteeing the pupil's education. So, I know that's a predicate nominative because I can see the linking verb over there first. Second, I can see that the goal is the same as guaranteeing the pupil's education. What is our goal? Is guaranteeing the pupil's education the same thing as our goal? Yes. So that's why I say that that's a predicate nominative. Now, here's the trick. Here's the tricky part. For us Spanish speakers, it's going to be easier to identify gerunds if we remember that a gerund doesn't exist in Spanish. I repeat, a gerund doesn't exist in Spanish. Teacher, excuse me, but I have studied Spanish and I know that the gerund exists in Spanish. We have gerundio. Gerundio, teacher, you don't know anything. I don't know how you are teaching us. Okay, relax. Listen. The thing is this. The term gerund and the term gerundio, both of them are false cognates. That is to say, a gerund doesn't mean gerundio, and gerundio doesn't mean gerund, obviously, right? So, the term gerund is a false cognate for us. What are you talking about, teacher? Well, I am talking about this. The gerundio is the ando ending of a word in Spanish, right? Of a verb, yes? If the verb ends in ando endo, then I call that a gerund. Now I want you to check. If I try to provide this meaning to these phrases that I have underlined here, you will realize that that doesn't really make sense. Listen to me, in Spanish. Averiguando la verdad hizo que Harry se diera cuenta de su error. Does that make sense? Hopper has quit drinking coffee. Hopper ha dejado tomando café. What? Does that make sense? Nuestra meta estaba garantizando la educación del pupilo. Is that what this sentence means? Our goal era garantizando la educación del pupilo. Not really, right? You cannot assign the ando-endo meaning of a gerundio to a gerund in English. So teacher, and then how do I know that a gerund is a gerund and not a present participle, as you are saying? Well, because the gerund, even if we don't have this an exact meaning for a gerund in Spanish, the equivalent is the meaning of an infinitive. So if the ing word, when you translate it, and I know this subject is not about translation, but I want to provide you with all the tools that you may have in order to figure out the roles that these different verbals have. So as I was saying, if you can assign the ending ir proper of an infinitive of a word in Spanish to the ing words right here, if we can assign this ir ending and the sentence makes sense, then I know that's a gerund. Let's check it out now. Let's see if with the ending ir these sentences make sense in Spanish now. Averiguar la verdad hizo que Harry se diera cuenta de su error. Isn't that better? Does that not help you understand this better? Yeah, that makes sense. But averiguando la verdad hizo que Harry se diera cuenta de su error. No, that doesn't make sense in Spanish. Hopper ha dejado de beber café. Hopper ha dejado de tomar café. Beber, tomar. Yes, that makes sense. Nuestra meta era garantizar la educación del pupilo. So, you can see the difference. If you try to assign the ando ending meaning of the progressive form of the gerundio to a gerund, it will not make sense. Okay, so that means that that's not a present participle. That means that that's a gerund. So you assign the meaning of ir to this word or phrase. If it makes sense with ir, it means that this phrase is a gerund. And what if it doesn't make sense, teacher? Well, then it means most likely that not most likely, then it means that it's a present participle. Let's talk about present participles now. Now, a present participle, guys, can take two different possibilities of analysis. I can analyze a present participle as an adjective, or I can analyze a present participle as part of a progressive form. Now, as an adjective, it is common, but it's not the only ending. I want to be clear. Ante and ente are very common endings for ing adjectives, but it doesn't mean that they are the only two possibilities. Okay? But it's very common that if in Spanish the word ends in ante or ente, they have an equivalent in English, with the ing ending. Disappointing, interesting. Disappointing, decepcionante. Interesting, interesante. Again, these are not the only possibilities to show that the present participle, that the ing word is an adjective, but at least it gives you some idea of identifying these as adjectives. The other possibility of analysis for a present participle is that the present participle is part of a progressive form. And now it takes the meaning of the progressive ando, endo, right? Ando, endo. And you gotta be careful and remember that to classify a present participle as part of a progressive form, it needs to be accompanied by an auxiliary verb. It needs to be accompanied by verb be. Because remember that the two verb forms are going to make the progressive form, right? Either it's past progressive or present progressive, yes, or taking into consideration the future aspect, right? So you say future perfect. Excuse me, future continuous, not future perfect. Now, let me show you some examples. Mr. Peña is investigating the Colombian drug smuggling. Mr. Peña is investigating the Colombian drug smuggling. El señor Peña está investigando el contrabando de drogas colombiano. ¿Sí? What happens if I try to use ir? El señor Peña está investigar el contrabando de drogas colombiano. That doesn't make sense. Está investigar. Yo querer. No. Remember the Tarzan case? No. It doesn't make sense if I say está investigar. Definitely it says está investigando. And as you can see, this present participle is accompanied by this auxiliary verb. It's accompanied by is. So, because I can see the auxiliary verb here and the main verb in ing form, I am going to say that this ing form is a present participle, part of a continuous form. The next example. Finding out the truth, Jenny started crying. Finding out the truth, Jenny started crying. Averiguando la verdad. Yes. Averiguando la verdad, Jenny comenzó a llorar. That means to say that she was doing this action. She was doing this action, finding out the truth, and while she was finding out the truth, she started this action. She started crying. Now, am I going to classify this present participial phrase as part of a progressive form? No. Why not, teacher? Because it means ando. You just said averiguando la verdad. Yes, I said that, but also remember that I told you that to classify a present participle as part of a continuous form, you need to have the auxiliary verb to be. And I have it here, but here I don't have it, right? So I cannot say that this ing phrase is part of a progressive form. So I simply say that this is a present participial phrase or a present participle phrase acting as an adjective. Remember that we classify this as a present participial phrase. In composition, you must have studied the case of dangling modifiers, right? And remember that what makes it a dangling modifier is when I have this modifying far away from the person or the actor or the doer of the action. Yes. One last example. Google provided the cleaning supplies. Google dio los suministros de limpieza. Google proveyó los suministros de limpieza. Now, I have this cleaning word over here, this ing, and I want you to see what I told you. Normally, the ente is the meaning that I assign to adjectives, but in here, I cannot assign limpiante, los suministros de limpiante, los suministros limpiantes, no. In here I say los suministros de limpieza, but this ing word, what it's doing is to actually modify supplies, because it tells us what kind of supplies Google provided. All the supplies? No, Google provided the cleaning supplies. So, teacher, why don't we classify this as a present participial phrase? Because this is not a phrase, this is only modifying supplies, not the other way around. And we will continue talking about past participles in the next video, guys. Bye bye.